Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Inside Guns with your host, me, the Yankee Marshal. Yesterday, I made a video that was not as correct as my videos usually are. It contained some faulty information. You know, I based that video on a couple of sources that I probably shouldn't base it on, like one, the spokesman for the police department, and Ammo Land, and some other places, and some information from some of my viewers in the live chat, which I should have known better than that. I basically broke my own rules about researching sources, just mainly because I wanted to make a snarky video about Kel-Tec. Hadn't made one in a while. So I kind of wanted to do that, and that kind of led me to make that video. And I didn't take it down. I still think it's a snarky video about Kel-Tec. But I want to address the reality of the situation where I was wrong. I believed that the Sub 2000 was the gun he used from the rooftop when it was really an M&P, Smith & Wesson M&P 15 that he used from the rooftop. So I want to correct that, but I want to double down in some ways on the statement I was making about how they completely misrepresent weapons used in these situations. The only thing they got right was that what he used was an AR-style rifle. It is not an assault rifle, and it is definitely not high-powered. Definitely not a high-powered rifle. They love to misuse this term assault rifle. And it doesn't surprise me, fascists love this term. This term actually is accredited by some people to Hitler, you know, who supposedly named the Sturmgewehr, which translates to assault rifle, which was a new class of battle rifle designed for the military that was select fire and fired an intermediate level cartridge. So that was where this kind of term came from. And if you look in the Britannica and look at the definition of assault rifle, it says, and I'm going to read it here so I don't do it injustice. It says, a military firearm that is chambered for ammunition of reduced size or propellant charge and that has the capacity to switch between semi-automatic and fully automatic fire. Right there, since the AR-15 does not have select fire, it is not an assault rifle. It is also not a military rifle. It was not designed for the military. You know, the AR-15 the AR doesn't stand for assault rifle also. We've been over that 1,000 times. That stands for Armalite Rifle, the company that made them. And they weren't designed for the military, actually. The ones we see these days, the ones you see like from Smith & Wesson and other makers, these are designed for civilian use. They aren't building these to sell them to the Army. They are designed for sporting use, for hunting use, and for personal self-defense for civilians. These companies aren't mass producing these to sell them to the military. They are making these for civilian use, and they don't have the characteristics of military guns. They are not select fire. They are not designed to be used by military troops. So they do not fit the definition of assault rifle. And here's the thing, even assault rifles, by the definition that they're given, are not high-powered. Let's also look at the military, the U.S. Army's definition of an assault rifle. And I'm going to read this again also so I don't screw it up. The U.S. Army defines an assault rifle as a short, compact, select-fire weapon that can fire a cartridge of intermediate power between submachine gun and rifle cartridges. Once again, it classifies it as a military weapon. I didn't read that part, but also it is select fire and it has an intermediate power cartridge. So even if they're using the term assault rifle, a high-powered would not be applicable. So we know that the AR-15, the M&P, is not an assault rifle, and even if it was, it's not high-powered. Now, the .223 round that we know here in this country, or the .556 NATO round, which is slightly less powerful, the .223 round is an effective round, but so are most like handgun cartridges. The only advantage it has really is distance. It can be effective at a longer distance, but so can .22 Magnum. So that's its big thing. But most mass shootings don't occur at great distances. They usually occur pretty close up. There's a few exceptions, or one or two exceptions, but usually pretty close up, like in a classroom or in a hallway or at a workplace. And that's where AR-15s don't really have that big of an advantage. If you look at their power at the muzzle, they don't really stack up that well to other cartridges. If you look at .223 here compared to handgun calibers, yeah, sure, it's more powerful than some of them, like 9mm and 40. But when you start getting up into .357 Magnum, .44 Magnum, it kind of looks way less impressive. And when you get into others like 50 AE, 460 Smith & Wesson, 500 Smith & Wesson, well, it pales in comparison as far as close-up power and being a devastating round. So it isn't that powerful when you compare it to handgun calibers. And it definitely isn't powerful when you compare it to rifle calibers. When you look at these other rifle calibers you compare it to here, it just pales. You see here that it's in the red and these other calibers are in blue. They're far more powerful. These are hunting calibers, like the Lapua, the 308, the 30-06, etc. They're far more powerful than .223. They're far more devastating if you were to be shot by one. So AR-15s shoot a moderate powered round, not a high powered round, and they are not assault rifles. So all the things I was saying yesterday about how they love to demonize these guns based on falsehoods, it's all true. They love to make up bullshit. AR-15s are not assault rifles. They are also not high powered, as are most assault rifles are not high powered. In fact, some rifles in the military that are select fire are not considered assault rifles because they are not designed to be used in a squad in a way that an assault rifle is supposed to be used. They're too big, too heavy. And they fire too powerful a cartridge. So high-powered guns are excluded from the assault rifle definition, even if they are select fire. So they continue to tell lie after lie after lie to demonize a type of gun so that they can justify removing that type of gun when that type of gun really has few advantages. Like I said, most mass shootings occur up pretty close. A lot of people are under the false conception that this guy was on the top of a high building and engaged targets at distance. No, he was on a one-story building right there on the street. People went and looked up and went, oh, there he is right there. I can see him pointing a gun at me. It was close range. At that range, there's lots of other guns, even semi-automatic, some semi-automatic handguns that would have probably been more devastating because they have more short-range power, fire a bigger projectile, etc. But, people don't want to talk about that because that doesn't help them demonize a class of gun. At least the media and the politicians don't want to talk about that. He could have had just as big an advantage with a lot of different other guns. In fact, a better advantage. If you look at his kill rate, he fired 70 rounds. He injured 45 people. He only killed 7 of them. That's not a really high kill rate. You wouldn't consider that a huge success. You probably could have had more success with a pipe bomb or crock pot bomb, than he did. So this whole desire for the media and politicians to demonize types of rifles is true whether it was a sub 2000 or a Smith & Wesson M&P-15 or an AR-15. Because an AR-15 is no more an assault rifle than the sub 2000. They're more similar to each other than either of them is to an assault rifle. They're more similar to each other than either of them is to a high-powered rifle. They're both closer to handgun caliber levels as far as power up close than they are to actual rifle calibers. That's part of the definition of assault rifle even. Intermediate caliber. So when the media and the politicians talk about these things, it's an assault rifle or it's high powered. They're lying to demonize a type of gun that has nothing to do with either of those categories. High-powered or assault rifle or military use or any of that stuff. It's not a weapon of war. AR-15s are not designed to be used by military members in war. They are designed and sold and marketed for personal use, for civilians, for hunting, plinking, self-defense, etc. They are not designed and marketed to the military. They are not select fire, and they are not high-powered. They're basically just a regular old rifle that's been fancied up to look like something it's not. It's no more dangerous than any other wood-framed rifle that can take a magazine. In fact, usually it's less deadly. It's less powerful. So remember that when you hear the media talk about assault rifles, because they're lying. They're lying to demonize the type of weapon and take your rights away. That's all they're doing. Like I said, this gun, this M&P 15, is no more an assault rifle than, like I said, the Sub 2000 is. The only people who think otherwise are the people in the media who like to lie to you, and the people that pull their strings, who want to disarm you. Those are the people that like to call things assault weapons, and they're doing it to take your rights. All right, everybody, that's it for me today. I hope you enjoyed the show. I do appreciate you coming, and I hope you come back again on Monday. This is Friday. Until then, remember over this weekend to always carry and stay safe until I see you again. Because I went on off of some information from some questionable sources, like the spokesman sources.